Welcome to the Echo Essentials podcast. My name is Chris Pekarsky, and on today's episode, it's a little bit different, actually. We decided to shoot on location for this one. It's kind of fun. For those who've already read the description or the title, you know where I'm going with this. We visited our friends down at the Gathering Place down on Castle Street. We spoke to and with Peter Gregory and Alicia Smith regarding the last time since they've been into the studio and talked with us. A couple things have changed, but there's still like a pretty big emphasis on, you know, the hurdles that they're facing right now as a business. So they wanted to kind of address some of those things, talk about business, and kind of also give everyone a peek behind the curtain in terms of like what actually happens. Because when I was doing homework on the story, I was like, okay, well, you know, we all know about the Gathering Place and what they do, but it turns out like a lot of people actually don't know what they do. And so I was like, let's go behind the scenes and let's go actually meet the people who are in the place, who are doing the hard work, all the additional things that they do, detail it so we can understand like just what kind of value and service that the Gathering Place provides to so many different people within our city. So it's a great episode. As I always say it's a great episode, but this truly is. We want you to consider if you have any opportunities to give back to Gathering Place, whether it's in the form of money or support or funds. We do address that in the episode. We'll attach the actual link for the Gathering Place in the description, but we'll probably put it on screen here. Ben, have fun with that one. But give them a chance. Let them know how you can help. But before we get to the entire episode and all that stuff, we do want to throw it and thank our title sponsors of today's show, the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation.
Dear North Bay, you've always been more than a place on the map. You're home to me. This is where I built a life with my husband, raised our kids, and taught in local schools for over 24 years. I'm proud to be part of this community. Earlier this year, my world shifted. After living with anxiety, depression, and PTSD for much of my life, I reached a point where I couldn't keep going alone. Walking into the emergency department at the North Bay Regional Health Center was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But what I found there changed everything. A nurse who made me feel safe, a crisis worker who truly listened. For the first time in a long time, I felt seen. That care gave me hope, and it inspired me to give back by supporting local healthcare so that others in our community can access the same compassionate care I did. If my story resonates with you, I hope you'll consider supporting the NBRHC Foundation. Please visit nbrhcfoundation.ca or call 705-495-8125 to give. Because mental health is health. With gratitude, Tiffany Van Meer.
Good morning, Peter. How are you?
Morning, Chris. Very well this morning.
Good, excellent. So we're here at the Gathering Place here in North Bay to talk a couple of things. It's been a while since we touched base with you. I believe the last time we had you guys in, my colleagues and peers, former colleagues, Scott Clark and Dave Dale, had you and Alicia in to talk a bit about business. So today we're touching base to see how things are going with the Gathering Place, what's on the horizon, what can we do, and just kind of giving a general look in terms of what's happening at the Gathering Place for our cities, because it's been a bit, right? Some things have changed.
Yes, they have. We've made some changes in our personnel, our staff, and we made some changes within the building too. We've cut our expenses an awful lot this year. We've really concentrated on that, and our expenses down over 2024 are down about 31% this year, our expenses. So we've done a good job internally of cutting our costs, and we want to continue to do that.
So just for me, for a couple of people who might not be caught up entirely in terms of the original story or the update, there's been some, history in terms of the Gathering Place having, some financial issues or struggles in terms of, was it operational cost or there's a couple different areas, right? But essentially it mattered up to being a pretty large sum that the Gathering Place had to make up in order to kind of make the books balance, correct?
Correct.
So when did this all kind of start happening? I mean, when did you start kind of noticing? Because you are the chairman of the board of the Gathering Place, correct?
Correct.
And so you've been with the Gathering Place board for how long?
I believe it's my ninth year.
Ninth year. Okay,
Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah. Okay, so you've kind of seen, I guess, in the last little while, I mean, the world has changed drastically in 10 years, obviously, let alone the last 9 months. What kind of started happening where you're like, okay, things aren't quite right, things had to change, and obviously there's been some significant departures, a lot of staff changes. Um, when did things really start kind of being like, okay, something has to happen?
Well, when I took over the chair in April of 2024, we started to take a look at what was happening internally. Up until then, the board was letting the administration run this here, and we didn't feel it was being run as a business any longer.
Okay.
So at that point, we took a look at it. There was a treasurer there. He's passed on now, but the treasurer and I worked together to put together a plan to cut the costs and work on wages as well. But cutting the costs was a big thing rather than wages. And so we put a program together, and then we've effectively worked that program. And even though he's not here any longer, we're still working the same program.
Okay. Because for a couple other people who might not also maybe understand some of the other parts that were cut or reduced to make things work, right? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the goal was to keep the gathering place running because you guys provide an essential service to those who might you just need food, right? Who could use an extra meal. Over the course of the years, I don't have the dates with me off the top of my head. There's a lot of different things I had to look up. But there was the warming shelter being handed over. There was the community garden that was on Algonquin that was handed over, both to the city, if I'm correct.
That's correct.
Correct?
Yeah.
And obviously, the gathering place used to offer more than one meal a day, and now you're offering one meal a day at lunch hour, correct?
Correct.
So that's a lot of changes and a lot of cuts that you'd make in terms of the overall budget, I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it has reduced our costs, and that's what we were looking to achieve. The garden alone, we had wages attached to the garden, and it was at least $40,000 a year. And it wasn't feasible or economically feasible to do the garden at $40,000 cost. And so that's why we decided to let the garden go. It's gone back to the city, and the city is running the garden this year.
Okay.
And we're benefiting from it because a lot of the produce that they're growing there is coming back to us here.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a benefit to us this year.
Yeah.
But it's being run now by the city of North Bay with their staff.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So I guess for me is like, in a situation, you have to do all these, I call them sacrifices because there's things that you probably don't ultimately want to do, but things that you have to do to make things work, right? And, we could talk about, the numbers and the ask and the outcome when we get there in a couple of minutes, but ultimately the goal is to make sure that everything's in black, right? Make sure everything balances. And that's going to take a little bit of time, I imagine. Like, what can we do? Like, what would you imagine can be done aside from cutting costs and, while still providing services? Was there anything that you can do at like the government level, whether it's municipal, provincial, or federal, to kind of help request funds? Because I remember a story, now I'm kind of putting two questions in one at you, Peter, so bear with me. There was a DSAP ask once upon a time, right? And
Yes.
I think that got denied based on paperwork or a lack of submission. Is that the only way in which you guys can kind of get funding at the local level, or is there other things that you can kind of do?
That is, as far as the municipal government is concerned, the city of North Bay, that's the only way. We have to go to DSAB.
It's the only way.
DSAB's the one that gives us the money. We've got the same $50,000 a year for at least 8 years now. So there's been inflation and everything else going on, but we don't seem to get any increase from the city of North Bay of that. So again, this year, in 2026, we'll probably get the same 50,000, but that's all we get from them. The other monies we get is pretty well all donation based then.
Fair. So, it's funny. I had it on my desk at work. What's your? Can I ask this? What's your annual operating budget? Like, how much do you need to operate? Because you make it public, right?
Yeah, well, it is public, and I want to make it public. We need last year we needed $133,000 a month. To sustain ourselves, because of what was going on. That was with the warming center and everything else. Okay, we're down to $32,000 a month now, which is
big difference.
Big difference.
Yep.
And it's a lot easier to handle. But what we've done as a business, what we've done is we've cut the cost. But What's happened in the meantime is because of economical problems within Canada, I'll call it, and the world, I guess, we're not getting the donations anymore. So our donations, even though we've cut our cost 32%, our donations have gone down 22%. So we're not gaining because of that. So our plea is to the public, to the city, to the people in North Bay is, if you want us to keep our doors open, we need more money. We have to have sustainable income. And with sustainable income, we'll be able to set a budget properly, now which a business does. But right now it's hard to do because this month we'll get X amount of dollars and it'll be spent within that 32,000 I'm talking about. But the next month we might even get enough to sustain that monthly expense. And that's the problem. So
It's up and down, right? Like it's
up and down.
unpredictable.
Yeah, unpredictable, and it has been all these years. And so what the plea I'm putting out to everybody and then the service clubs and everything is, how about sustainable income? Instead of giving us $5,000, give us so much a month. And then that way we can plan properly and do it. And the same with the households in North Bay, the families in North Bay. We get some good checks from certain individuals, but what would really help us is sustainable income, being monthly income.
Yeah.
That we could work out a program that would come out automatically from their bank account or to work something out that way.
Fair. So when you talk about donations, you said 23% down? The 22%? 22% down. It doesn't sound like a big number, but in the scheme of things, you'd imagine that's quite the dip. Is that coming from mostly, or I guess, is the lack of it coming from households or local businesses or, corporate donations? Like, where is the loss coming from?
From everybody.
Everyone.
Yeah.
It's all collective.
Correct. Even the corporations are giving us less now. They're finding hard times. So they have to bring it instead of giving the same. And that's the problem a lot of places have always given us X amount of dollars, but now they can't because of their economic situation. So they've reduced it. They haven't cut it off altogether, but they've reduced it.
Yeah.
So that reduction is coming to us, and so we're being affected.
I mean, like, I get it. Like, I do what I can to make my own ends meet, but like, it's tough because groceries, for me at least, as I live in an apartment with my partner and we both have an income very similar. And, it's tough. Like, it's groceries today weren't groceries 4 years ago, right? And so, there's a lot of things that kind of led us to this point, and there's a couple of things that are, maybe working in our favor and working against us. But I imagine, I guess, I don't know if this rule applies, but the whole like make sure your cup is filled before you can put into others, I guess, is maybe applying for some people. But that's not to say that like there's maybe something that we can kind of think about, right? I guess the conversation here is we're trying to encourage people to think about, if there is even if it's like, instead of going from like a 5%, contribution that you can make to zero, if you can make it like a 2%, just give something back, right?
Correct.
Is to kind of make sure that, it's a lot of those, you can kind of close that 22% number, something smaller, obviously.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the problem that we have today is from the past. We were accused of squandering money.
Squandering money?
Yeah, on different things that we didn't need.
Okay.
We were told by the public that our wages were too high. We took a look at that, and they weren't. We had our ED was making a good wage, and we've taken that out of the parcel now, we'll call it.
Okay.
But we aren't squandering any money anymore. We're doing everything we can. Even we brought in a couple farmers now, so if we can't use what is left over, it goes to farmers now, and they feed it to the pigs. So it right from the get-go, it's all the way through. It's being all processed and used up. For us, that's a good move. Cutting our expenses was a big thing that the public spoke about. That they thought we could do better, and we have done better. We've pulled up our socks and we've tightened our belts, and we put together a program that makes sense because of a business. We weren't running the gathering place as a business before. We are now. And we've got an operations manager, and she's well aware now, and that's where we'll keep moving forward as a business.
It's tough, right? Because I feel like being a North Bayite, being born and raised here and working here and being here for most of my life, yeah, I've always known the Gathering Place, as being like a staple of like the east end of downtown, and it's a staple of the city.
21, 22 years now.
Yeah, it's been around for a bit. And like for me, it's always been like an institution of like, okay, this is a place that has to be here. This is a place that serves people, who are coming in various different, backgrounds and walks and appearances and whatever have you, right? Because the episode you talked about previously, it's not just the homeless you're feeding, per se. It's people who might be looking for, the one extra meal that they can't afford or something that might be more difficult, right? Like, has the scope of that changed at all?
Well, I want to make people aware.
Yeah.
We heard that all we were doing was serving the people, the street people.
Yeah.
They're not quite 20% of our business. The other 80% plus is working poor.
Yeah.
They're using us to sustain themselves because if they can come here and eat, they don't have to put the money out for that. They can put it out for heating and electric and different things, different costs that they have. And a lot of them are doing that. So I want the people in North Bay to know that we're not just serving the street people. That's a very, very, very small part of who we're servicing. So we want to help the working poor. We're determined to help them get through the tough times. And that's what we're here for, basically. Yes, we do serve the people on the streets, but they're human beings too.
Of course.
We have to take care of them. We got to help them. And so that's our attitude here is as we help them, we're helping a whole bunch of other people. And we help a lot of families here too.
I mean, I think the compassionate part is like, the root of the story here, right? I mean, not to give away the juice of what we're doing, but like, it's making sure that, we understand as a collective in North Bay, who the Gathering Place is looking at serving, right? It's serving many people who you see or maybe don't see. And like, people are people. They deserve respect. They deserve, the human rights of being able to eat, being able to get out of the cold for a bit or the sun for a bit. Those things are important. Like that goes towards your life.
The governments, both federal and provincial, are really large on home security, but they don't recognize anything about food insecurity. Okay, and food insecurity has become a big thing in Canada. I think it has over the world, but it's become a huge problem in Canada. And so that's where we come in. We're taking care of that food insecurity for the city of North Bay, and for the population here. The city itself doesn't recognize food insecurity either. Municipal, federal, and
so you said the city does not recognize food insecurity?
No. Okay. None of them do. None of the three governments do. And to me, that doesn't make sense because depression comes because you don't eat properly, which causes drug problems, which causes alcoholism. It's all part and parcel. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that they're healthy, that they eat a proper balanced meal when they come here, and they're taken care of. What we give now when we give a meal, we're open 11:30 to 1:30. What we give now is we give a warm meal, okay, with lots of protein and everything in it that is good for the body. But when they walk out of here, they also walk out with a bagged lunch, so they can have something for later on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
okay, I didn't know that.
They've got a sandwich, they got some fruit, they got a dessert. So we've dropped to one meal, but it's more than that.
Meal in a bit kind of thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I think you make a good point. I think, when you don't know where your next meal is coming from, it makes things a lot harder, not just physically, but mentally. I mean, it has a profound effect on your day to day, especially like, caloric wise. Like if you don't have the calories to, operate and, do what you got to do.
And in the wintertime, you need all that to keep warm.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a good point. So let's talk directly to the city, the people, or I guess in the situation, municipality. Like, what are we looking for?
In a nutshell, we're looking for sustainable income. We're looking for more donations from the people. That'll keep these doors open, but so we can service the clientele we're serving. 80% of our clientele are not off the street. They have a place to sleep at night and put their head down. I think it's important we recognize that because they're the people, we want to help everybody, but they're the people we really want to help, okay? Because they're having a hard time, they're having a struggle.
Yeah, people who are in substance abuse are having different challenges than maybe myself or you, right? Like there's a lot of...
We're lucky compared to a lot of people. We really are.
Oh, very fortunate.
We had a warm bed tonight or last night, and a lot of people don't. But the people that do have that are struggling day by day to try and pay for that. And so when they don't have to put out for a meal or buy food, we cut that cost for them, and so they can put it towards those expenses that they have for the household.
No, I agree. So we're looking at increasing funds and increasing donations. Is there any systems you guys have set up at the business side of things to kind of make that happen? Like, is there any? I mean, we're going to talk about an event coming up in a little bit, but is there any kind of system or?
Well, you can donate through email.
Okay.
Okay. We have a website there.
Yeah.
It's you had to ask, eh?
We'll put on the episode.
Alicia will tell you.
Yeah.
But
we'll get it right. We'll get it right.
Yeah. So, but there's a website there now. Listen, you got a check ready? Call us. We'll come and pick it up. It's simple. We want to make it easy for people to donate to us, and so they will. If you have less work, you're going to probably participate more.
Sure.
But I think people generally take what we do for granted. There's a heck of an expense behind running an operation like this.
Yeah.
And we have to cover those expenses. And we made mistakes. We might as well talk about it. We made mistakes with the CRA back a few years ago. And it's a black whatever in our past, but we're paying that debt down. That debt is coming down. It's come down quite a bit. We hope to have that paid within a couple of years, and then get that off the book, because we had to make a commitment to the CRA of $4,000 a month to pay it back, and that is not an easy amount for us, but we've been doing it up until, recently we're doing it. So I think that once that's out of the way, we're going to be in good books. But we have to exist now for another 2 years with the program we got with $32,000.
Yeah, I mean, the city and the people need you to be here, right? It's vital, if I'm being honest, because things are hard. You see people, you don't see people who use the service, and the 2-year out forecast, I think that's a good picture for those who might not fully understand, what has to, how hard it is, to kind of climb out of that hole, so to speak. Because it's not as simple as we're gonna have talk about a miracle donor or something. Right. It doesn't happen that easily. No. It takes time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in terms of donations, can people provide money in the form of, obviously on the website, e-transfer? Can people just bring cash? Can they bring checks?
Yeah, okay. All of that.
Okay.
And what they'll do is we'll make sure they get a receipt. That seemed to have been a problem in the past as well.
Okay.
People are not getting receipt. We've got a system now. Money comes in.
Okay.
The receipt is accepted. The receipt's written right away within 24 hours.
Like a tax receipt?
A tax receipt.
Okay. Yeah.
We're just looking at a way now, and if the public can tell us a different way than using the post office,
fair point.
I would like to hear those ideas, because I'd like to be able to email those receipts out to the customers, and we have a system that can do that. But a lot of the customers don't want us to have their email. I don't know why, but they don't. Now, give us your email, and we promise you that we'll just send you the receipt. And we won't do anything other than that. We won't solicit any more from you if you don't want us to, and we'll work together that way.
Can people also donate food or items or things that can help contribute to putting stuff in the kitchen? Is that something you guys accept?
Yeah, well, of course, food. Kitchen items, we're always looking for different things in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So actually, we put a plea out to one of our better. We put a plea out on Facebook, and we asked for what do you call it, for shrinking bags, in the kitchen.
Oh, Yeah.
the air out.
Yeah.
I forget what the system is. Anyway, so
Like an air decompressor or something like that, or like a vacuum. Is it
vacuum
blocked? Okay,
vacuum
yeah,
sealer.
okay.
There you go.
Vacuum
Thank
sealer.
you.
We got there. We got
Yeah,
there.
thank you. Getting older. Anyways, so we put a plea out there, and Rebuilt Resources, one of our sponsors, they really help us out. They came across and they went and got us one of those vacuum sealers from Amazon. I believe they picked
Okay.
it up, and we're using it downstairs. And terrific.
Fantastic.
You
Shout
know?
out Maureen and the team. Yeah.
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 Well, they're very good to us. I got to say that. But
Fantastic.
we've got a lot of citizens in North Bay that have sponsored us for many years and helped us out. And I think what we're looking for is want to increase that number.
Yeah.
You know, if we've done something wrong in the past, let's let it go.
Yeah.
You know, let's move on today, moving forward, so we can help those people that need the help.
I guess some of that change in that conversation is like showing that you're a different operation, right? And whether it's conversations like this, or it's, public engagement initiatives or articles that kind of, undress the veil of misunderstanding.
Yeah.
If it gives people the confidence and the understanding and the emotional depth to be like, okay, well, this is something that I should help out with or understand better. That's kind of the whole point, right? So can people also donate time? Like, can they come in and volunteer?
Yep, we can ask. We ask them to call in, and Alicia will set them up with a schedule that works for them.
Okay.
Not works for us, but works for them. And we'll set that up. And yeah, come on in. We ask people to do that because a lot of those people that are coming in to help are also the ones that are donating because they understand. They
get
it
it
firsthand. That's right.
Yeah.
So we accept that, and we encourage that. To come on in and take a look at this operation.
Yeah.
And again, if you've got better ideas than what we've got, help us out. Give us those ideas.
Fair enough. So let's talk about one more thing before we throw it to Alicia and myself downstairs. Let's talk a bit about an event coming up that you guys have as a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Soup's On. Let's talk about it.
November 7th at the Grand. Starts at 11 o'clock, goes to 2 o'clock. It's one of our elite fundraisers. It's been going on for better than 10 years now. I think it's 12. And it's a good fundraiser. It's fun. We get about 17 restaurants from around town to make their soups and put them together, and they come down to the Grand, and then the customers come in the door and they sample the soups. It's $15. It's not a lot of money.
It's not.
And you get all the different tastes of the 17 different soups, but you also get buns or pastries and different things like that to go along with it. Most people walk out the door are full. So, that's what we want,
Yeah.
But then they get a chance, if they want to, they can vote on the best soups, the best 3 soups.
Okay. So I guess the game of this is you vote on the best 3 soups from, coming in and trying all 17 from the $15 price point. And I guess these community restaurants who are putting forth these soups, they get ranked, and then you crown like a winner, or you crown like a certain category or something. Is that how that kind of works?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And the restaurants like it because they do sample the soups, and not everybody's been to every restaurant. There's a good way to go around and do that.
Great sampler.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because I feel like I'm not going to name any here because, the last thing I want to do is draw ire of those who disagree with me. But everyone has a certain favorite place that they get their soup from,
Really.
right? I mean, everyone has a certain flavor choices or certain bowl size, whatever have you. And so, when I heard of this, I was like, okay, how have I never heard of this before? I've been here for 30-some years. But again, it's just a matter of just putting myself out there, remember that the world is bigger than just my own cone of what's going on. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to show up. I consider myself a soup connoisseur. I can't make any, but I love myself some soups. I got to know, is chili off the table? There's no chili here.
No, there's no. There's no chili.
There's a chili ban on Soup's On.
Sure. It's a little, it's no chili.
Okay. I was going to say, because chili all feels like cheating.
Well, it's heartier, but there's a lot of hearty soups out there too.
There is. That's true. Do you have a favorite kind of soup?
Green pea.
Green pea. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Not what I was expecting. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm I don't know. It's hard to be chicken noodle, but again, I'm a chili guy. I like a nice wonton soup too. Those are always nice.
Yeah, it is.
But okay, well, we'll see you there. That's Friday, November 7th, starting at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
$15 at the Grand.
At the Grand.
I'm assuming you'll post some more information and promo and some push leading up to it on your socials and your website?
We're starting Facebook now. I believe Monday we're going to start Facebook, let them out there, Instagram, and places like that to let the people know.
Okay, excellent. Any last things you want to say to our listeners before we throw it to Alicia downstairs?
I just, it's give us money. We need money. If you've got any ideas to help us operate this business better than what we're doing now, we'd love to hear from you.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you.
North Bay's turning 100, and what a time to be here. From the buzz of the Heritage Parade to sunset concerts at the waterfront, the city is alive with celebration. And you know who's right in the middle of it all? Homewood Suites by Hilton North Bay. We're proud to be a part of this milestone moment. Whether you're coming home from a family reunion, planning a gathering with friends, or just simply making the most of everything the Centennial has to offer, our doors are open. Stay in a spacious suite that feels like home, with a full kitchen to cook in, room to relax, and a space to unwind after a full day of fun. Are you hosting something bigger? Our event spaces and amazing local partners like the Grand and Stock Transportation make it easy to bring people together. Best of all, they're just steps from the action. The fireworks, the food trucks, the music, the laughter, it's all right here. Celebrate 100 years of North Bay with us. Use code Centennial to save on your stay anytime this year. Be at home with Homewood Suites by Hilton North Bay. Join the party today at 495 Oak Street West or give us a call at 705-495-3000.
It's almost that time of year. Early mornings at the rink, fresh notebooks and backpacks, and a community gearing up for another great season of varsity sports. At Source for Sports North Bay, we're proud to be part of it all. Whether it's finding your kid's first pair of skates, gearing up for tryouts, or outfitting your team for the season ahead, we've got you covered. Because here, we're not just a sports store, we're neighbors, coaches, teammates, and fans. And we're proud to cheer you on every shift, step, and stride of the way. Visit Source for Sports North Bay at 1321 Fisher Street and let us help you along your way.
So I'm now joined with Alicia Smith, who is the operations manager, correct, at the Gathering Place.
Correct. Yep.
Alicia, welcome to the show. I know I say welcome. We're in your home.
Welcome to our home.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're doing here for the second part of this this episode, is to kind of get like a really good understanding of what's actually happening at the front end of house or the boots on the ground level of the Gathering Place. So if you can with our audience, I know you appeared on the show last fall in the booth with Peter, but can you maybe explain kind of like what the operational side of things are on the day-to-day and what the prep looks like going into a lunch service?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a lot of work that goes into a day at the Gathering Place. A lot of people from the outside just presume that we are solely just a soup kitchen feeding the unhoused population. And yes, there's truth to that, but there's so much more of what we do on a day-to-day basis. So we're feeding the unhoused population. We feed youth, we feed seniors, we feed working class families who are just struggling to make it by. And we do that beyond just a lunch that we serve. So Monday to Friday, we do serve lunch from 11:30 to 1:30, and our doors are open for anybody who needs to come in. It's low barrier, no questions asked. You come in, you find a seat at the table, and we're going to make sure you get a nice full plate of food. So in order to prepare that lunch, we're usually expecting on a less busy day, I would say about 70 folks. On our busiest days, we're up to about 130 to 140 folks.
140?
Yeah, it's quite a range. It all depends on the time of month. Yeah, wow. It's food security it's affecting a lot of folks. Yeah. And that's just the people who are coming in and sitting down and eating. So we've got a kitchen team that's made up of some staff and some volunteers, and they'll start their day by. We have our chef and our kitchen manager, so she will do like a weekly menu plan.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so she's got a book in the back that she writes down what we're making for the week, and then the team kind of just references the book and they get to work. So that could be like chopping fruits, chopping veggies, prepping salads, getting the main protein ready to go. And while we've got the kitchen team doing that, we have our food rescue team. So the food rescue is what sustains us, is what keeps us functional and stocked. So we've got partnerships with the majority of the grocery stores across North Bay. So we got grocery stores, we got some Shoppers Drug Marts, and a couple restaurants as well.
Fantastic.
Good. The community is very good to us in that way.
Good.
So daily, we have volunteer drivers who go out to those locations and pick up the food that they are donating to us. This is food that they either pulled from the shelves because it's close to expiry, but it's still perfectly good, or food that just never got shelved because it came in damaged and they can't shelf it. So thousands of pounds of food is coming through our building every day, and we have food rescue staff who then they take that food from the volunteers, they weigh it just for our stat purposes, and then they sort to decide what we're keeping here for our menu planning and then what goes out into the community.
Right.
So we share the food with I believe we've got about 7 church food banks that come to us and pick up food to stock their pantries. We've also got group homes, we've got adult learning centers, and shelters who also come to us to stock their food banks. And then on top of that, we are also working with agencies, so like CMHA, CAS, True Self, Community Living. I know there's more that I'm missing, but
don't list all of those.
They're we're across the city in every way, and they can call us at any time and say, hey, we've got a family or we've got an individual who's struggling with food insecurity. Can I come pick up a box from you? So our food rescue boys will then put together a box with we've got frozen meals that we keep stocked in that freezer over there that we use our vacuum sealer for. So we got meals, and then our grocery items and bread, dairy, things like that will go into the box. Case managers come pick it up. They bring it to their families. That program became so popular in the last couple of months that, we used to, on the busiest days, we'd have 20, 25 boxes going out the door.
Whoa.
And that just kind of became very difficult so we kind of had to cap it at 15. So usually we'll try to fit 15 or 16 families in a day with our food box program. So, and then we also have a partnership with Out Loud, the LGBTQ youth center.
Shout out Seth.
Seth, you're awesome.
No, we love Seth.
They're doing very important work over there, and they've got a lot of kids who are struggling with food insecurity as well. So every Monday and every Friday, we send 60 fresh made meals over to Out Loud for them to stock their fridge.
Love it.
And then they've also got, they have a kitchen program where they teach their kids how to cook and how to recipe budget and stuff, and we'll help them stock up their supplies for that program as well. So that's all going on in the day as well. It's more than just soup, We've got our kitchen staff in the back making the lunch, and then we've got in the middle part of our building, we've got our food rescue boys doing all that craziness. We've got a constant flow of traffic coming in and out of caseworkers coming to pick up boxes, and then we've got our staff and volunteers out front who are working the dining room, and between 11:30 and 1:30, they're serving lunch like a little restaurant in here. So
I think it's safe to assume and boldly claim that you guys are a well-oiled machine.
A well-oiled machine. I call it a beehive because it's just it's so busy. We're all dancing around each other, just kind of making sure we're aware of where we are, but we're all working together for the common good of feeding the community.
Right,
so,
there you go.
Yeah.
What do you call it? An asocial group where you just have to all collectively do what you got to do.
Exactly.
And I think that's really important to highlight because people who, and we're not naming people here, but I feel like, especially in our local media cycle, we kind of get lost in the headlines of this or that, or not reading fully or not fully understanding what a certain community, initiative or a branch like the Gathering Place, like Out Loud, who we've had on the show before, what they actually provide, what they do, especially on a really granular level, because you can see right off the top why it's so important to have the books in order, which we talked about with Peter, and just to really make sure the community understands why you are necessary. Because you don't have to, you don't have to justify it to me, but you can see just in all the different ways you're helping other people, regardless of their own background, their own comings, right? And so it's important to remember that because it's not just soup and bowl here, right? You would see on a movie, which is not genuine at all for this situation, but you do so much more than that.
So much more.
How big is the staff anyway? Because you've had some staff reductions,
We've
obviously.
had staff reduction, so we're down to 6 staff.
6?
6, and out of those 6, only 2 are full-time, and the rest are part-time staff. So
Okay, that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. That's why we're so thankful for our volunteers, because they fill in those gaps for us big time.
Shout out to the volunteers.
Absolutely.
And I think it's important that like the volunteers and like the contributions and donations from community partners and members of the community at large, like kindness goes a long way, right? In terms of making sure that, you know, you guys can keep like the stoves on, the foods in the containers. There's so much that you have to consider, and like so a lot of that relies on the kindness and the generosity of the community.
Yeah.
We talked about that with Peter and like how important that is, and making sure we have those important contacts with community partners. Just making sure that in this situation, our listeners and our viewers understand like just exactly how much work goes into it, right? Because I feel like, again, getting lost in those headlines, we kind of lose sight of like exactly what you guys do. And you know, like I'm you know, somewhat guilty of this. Like I didn't fully understand that you guys had a community outreach lunchbox system where you talked about giving back to the families who are suffering from food insecurity or something like that. Like, I didn't know that, right? And that's important, because I think people need to understand, like, well, why certain things might be a certain way, or why costs are a certain way, or, you know, why it's tough to operate all these things on 2+4 staff.
Yeah.
Like, that's hard.
Yeah.
Right? And that can't be easy.
No, it's not easy. We're tired, but we're all here because we just, like I said, we all believe in the same thing. It's just people deserve to eat, and
Human right.
It's a human right, and it shouldn't be difficult, and people should be able to access food with dignity, and have no questions asked about why are you coming to us for help? Like that's not our business. Our business is just, you're here, we're going to feed you. And because of the generous support of our grocery stores, we have that ability in terms of the food resources. We have so much food to share that, you know, we kind of consider ourselves like the food distribution hub for North Bay.
Yeah. Because it's different than a food bank, because you're helping provide food banks.
Yeah, we're helping stock food banks, and we're different in the food bank in the sense that, like, we're providing a fresh made ready meal for folks, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's a good full plate of food. Like we always try to protein pack it and make sure that they're getting like their nutrients. And because for a lot of folks, this is the only place where they're coming for a good solid meal, right? So we do our best to make sure that we're hitting those requirements to make sure their field's good.
Fair. So obviously we're recording this on a Friday. This will air Thursday, October. I'm going to try to get this right. I think the 9th. Oh, I just put my foot in my mouth. I think it's the 9th. And so we're getting, like, you can see what's behind us, like the staff and the team getting ready for lunch service. It happens between 11:30 and 1:30.
Correct.
And at the time when we record this, it is 10:15. So if you're seeing a bunch of hustle and bustle, that's exactly what's happening. We're showing what's actually happening. And we didn't tell them to do anything. They're just doing their job. We're sitting in front of them talking, right?
Yep.
So, like, we're going to go into a bit about, like, you know, some footage of what's going on back there. But, like, you know, in terms of just hearing, and now just being really like fluid with my thoughts, there's so much food coming through and leaving, and there's so much food storing and prepping, and then, you know, meal distributing. How do you even stay on top of all that? Like, my brain is boggling. I'm just trying to organize podcasts. Like, I can't imagine doing all these things. How do you do it?
Honestly, it's just, I can't plug my team enough. It's just good, dedicated people who just, I don't have an easy answer, because some days it does feel like absolute chaos. But at the end of the day, you know, like, I always try to just tell the team, like, as long as we feed the people who come here looking for food, it doesn't matter how graceful or pretty that looks, you know, as long as people get fed, then at the end of the day, we did what we're supposed to be doing. The rest we'll sort it out as we go. Like, a lot of it is just kind of flying by the seat of our pants, especially with the reduced staff now. But it all works. It all works out at the end of the day. So
if dinner service starts at lunch service starts at 11:30, what time is the staff here at? Like, I mean, because you said you potentially Alicia, you potentially feed 70 to 140 people.
Mm-hmm.
You got to come in before 11 o'clock for that.
Yes.
Obviously, especially with all the meal prep and stuff. Like, what are they in at?
We start our day at 8:30. So our kitchen staff's in at 8:30, and they get right right down to business, they've got it seamless back there. Like they definitely know what they're doing. We've got an amazing sous chef, Jeff, who just, he knows his job every day. He comes in and he starts chopping his salads and he starts chopping up his veggies for the day. And some days they're so on the ball that they're prepping for the next day. And yeah, we've got, so on top of the meals that they get when they come in and sit down, they also get to take a sandwich and some snacks to go with them. So we've got fabulous volunteers who come in every day, and they know too, it's their job. They just come in and they look at the binder, see how many sandwiches they need to make, and they just get to task and they're whipping out 80 to 120 sandwiches. It's just great teamwork that keeps us going.
I mean, seeing all the ways in which it's connected, like you're obviously, because you're feeding people and you're repurposing and redistributing food that goes from other places to you as a distribution service outward. You gotta imagine there's also a lot of food waste reduction happening.
Yeah. So last year, our final numbers for the year was we kept 182,000 pounds of food out of the landfill. That's for any dinosaur-inclined people, that's about the weight of a brontosaurus. We learned that fun fact a couple years ago.
Not a small dinosaur for the record. That's a big dinosaur. The biggest dinosaur.
Yeah. And also, there is some food that we do get that it is a little bit too spoiled, or the fruits and veggies are too soft. We can't use that. So we have pig farmers who come to us. I think 3 times a week we have pig farmers who come and they pick up all the scrap and then they use it for their compost or for their feed. So again, we're even further reducing that carbon footprint a little bit.
I like that.
So yeah.
Nice. So let's ask this some really personal question in this one. Do you have a favorite meal that the chef makes? Do you have a go-to, this is an absolute heater?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know, I put you on the spot, right?
Everything's great.
Of course.
Yeah, everything's great.
Healthy caveat. Get yourself out of trouble.
Yeah. We had these sweet potato taco bowls last week. So it was just
awesome.
it was just seasoned sweet potatoes and then all the taco fixings on top of it. And that was probably one of my favorites that we've had in a while, because there was a homemade queso sauce to go on top of it too.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because it's not just soups. You're providing different kinds of meals, sandwiches, bowls. You talk about takeaways. Again, you're providing nutrition as well, not just a meal. You're not just putting empty calories or anything. Not that anyone would anyway, but it's more comprehensive. It's more thoughtful. You might think.
Yeah. Right. Each plate usually contains a good protein and then a nice starchy or nutrient-rich side. And then there's always a salad and a dessert to go with it as well. So, yeah.
Very cool. So I guess kind of how I, in the earlier segment asked Peter, what can the community do for the gathering place? Coming from your perspective, what can the North Bay area do to help contribute to the overall operation success and the continuation of the gathering place? And what can they maybe take away after this episode, understanding what's different, what's something they didn't know about?
Yeah. Obviously, the biggest factor is always the monetary donations. I did hear Peter touch on the fact that our donations have dropped, and it's understandable. Where it's hard times for everybody. Yeah. And we're, the work that we do is important. And I always say no donation is too small. About $5 that provides one meal for an individual. So just consider even if it is just that $5-10 monthly donation. And volunteers are always welcome. Like I said, we can't do half of what we do without our volunteers. They're truly the heartbeat of this organization. And I think we're a pretty chill, fun place to come hang out and spend a couple hours. Yeah, and we've got great people, a great team on board here. And just talk about us in the community. I know there's been some negative press out there, and people have negative opinions about us, and we're just really trying to change our image and that messaging, and just get people educated on what it is that we do, through conversations like this. And just I would just love to have people positively talking about us out in the community and just being like, oh, the gathering place, like, did you know that they do this and they do this? And like, they helped like so many people. And because the reality is like, we are feeding your neighbors. Like this is food insecurity affects anybody and everybody. It doesn't discriminate. Times are tough. Like we've gotten phone calls from parents thanking us, just being like, like, thanks to your food boxes, like I can now eat dinner with my kids, because before I wasn't eating dinner with my kids. I was just making sure my kids ate. Or I can now send my kid to school with a lunch and snacks because they weren't able to before. And we hear from like the caseworkers who are telling us that like their families on their caseloads are now able to pay rent plus have groceries, because before it was coming down to choices of, do we pay our rent or do we buy groceries? Like, so just, yeah, I guess I just want more positivity around us. Just people, just putting good word out there for us.
Yeah, I mean, part of the change in, acknowledging or changing, the narrative or the stigma, of what people might think.
Yeah.
Is just having those conversations, right? And having kind of like a transparent approach to how you do business and what happens through the day to day, and just really humanizing it, right? Because you don't qualify people for food. Everyone has the right to eat, right? And so just making sure we continue to highlight that, right? Because for me, like, that's important. Like, I live in the area. I want people to be housed and to be fed and to be taken care of. And I know I'm not alone in that. And I think sometimes it does get lost in the stigma or the narrative, especially in like the media cycle, which, I mean, you guys taking your lumps in terms of like some issues financially the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's fair, you own those, but that shouldn't be the final chapter either. You have people to help and people need you, and whatever we can talk about in terms of like helping make that happen, that's important.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And so, with Peter, we talked a bit about what can happen at the the three levels of government and how we can maybe see changes with that. And I think ultimately it's a community ask too, making sure the community understands like what you do and how they can help. So, Alicia, thank you for sitting down and talking with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your time.
We're gonna get you back to the swing of things as it kind of heats up here for our audio listeners. If you can't view it, there's a lot of hustle and bustle happening. That's probably, you can hear a lot of things happening, but again, that just shows things will stop here. So again, Alicia, thank you. We're gonna get some footage, the kitchen and the crew,
right.
But good luck and have a great lunch service.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening or watching the Echo Essentials podcast. My name, as always, is Chris Pekarsky, and thank you so much for engaging with us, checking out the episode. Feel free to let us know what you think. Drop a comment, like, share, subscribe, do all the important things to help support and spread not just the show, but the network. If you want to hear more about what's going on in the city of North Bay and at Echo in general, please, if you get a chance, subscribe to our newsletter where we share all kinds of updates from around the city featuring local journalists and what we do here at Echo. So again, check us out. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.